Welcome to another episode of Be the Boss of Your Money. It's a weekly personal finance show that I do that is live every week, and I hope you will always join us. But today's topic is particularly important. It has to do with Alzheimer's and dementia. 16 million Americans provide unpaid care for Alzheimer's and dementia. So this is a huge topic. 1 in 3 seniors dies with Alzheimer's or dementia. Kills more people than breast cancer and prostate cancer. Death from Alzheimer's has increased 150% in the last 20 years. The costs are close to $300 billion annually now and will be about $1 trillion in the next 20 years, maybe sooner. And the cost to households is devastating, not to mention the emotional toll. I have a very special guest today, Tori Cohen, who is Executive Director of Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center. And she is a tremendous resource. She's a terrific person. Welcome, Tori. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
This is particularly wonderful to have you because you're with a not-for-profit that does incredible local work. But even though you do local work in Long Island, the work you do is needed everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. This disease is becoming more and more prevalent.
More and more prevalent, and it's everywhere, and it's devastating. So what is the mission of your center?
The mission of our center is that we want to improve the lives of people that are living with Alzheimer's disease and dementia and their families.
Okay.
And we have a broad range of services and programs that we have at our center in Westbury.
I've gotten the tour of the center, and I was going to ask you this toward the end, but I'm going to ask you now. So,
okay.
Like when I took a walk around, I teared up, and I was really choking back tears. And it's a truly happy place. People there are occupied. They're kept busy with music and art and therapies and all kinds of things going there. But how do you personally, Tori, how do you handle being in the environment that to a lot of us, normal human beings, it's really sad for us to be there?
Yeah. Well, I've been working at the organization for 17 years, and so I've met and have been introduced to so many different individuals and their families. So I feel like the one thing that keeps me going is that when you're walking around and there's a lot of activities that are happening, is that we are giving people a life worth living after their diagnosis, and we're trying to focus the activities and what they can do productively, and we want them to be happy because no one should be at home looking at a wall, watching TV when they could be cognitively stimulated in our program. So I feel like in the end, if we're giving them a life worth living, their caregivers get respite, then I can walk away that day knowing we're doing a good thing, and I can try to separate the part of this is a progressive illness. It takes such a toll on the families and the people, and so you got to try to balance it. It's hard.
So this might be a very basic question, but what's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's, and do you have to go through dementia first to have Alzheimer's, to develop Alzheimer's?
That's a good question. I mean, typically people are always very confused between dementia and Alzheimer's, and they say, I have dementia, I don't have Alzheimer's. Dementia, if you think about an umbrella, and the top of the umbrella is dementia. Alzheimer's is just a specific form of dementia. There are many different forms of dementia, which Alzheimer's is just one of them. And really, until you have someone that passes away and you have a brain autopsy, you don't know 100% until then. But people that have strokes have vascular dementia. So I could keep going on in that one way because there's a lot of different forms.
Well, that's interesting. So you really don't know if somebody has Alzheimer's until after they've passed away and there's an autopsy done.
Absolutely.
You serve people with all different levels of dementia and Alzheimer's?
Yes. The one thing that makes us very unique is that once a family starts with us in the early stages of the disease, most of our programs take them through the late stages of the disease. So when someone starts to feel comfortable with us, because it's really hard to get involved, I feel like it's hard to face the reality that someone's dealing with this disease for the individual and their family. But once they transition and come to us, they can make it through all of the
it's
journey.
Absolutely devastating.
It's tricky because a lot of times we're meeting people that are already in the stages of the dementia and they don't know that they have it, but there have been few along the years that I've been working there that know that they've been diagnosed with that disease and have been told by their doctor and their family, and they're trying to manage with it, which is really hard because then they have their emotions, even if they're
it's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking.
It's usually the spouse who takes care of the other spouse who's been diagnosed. And what kind of toll does this have on those caregivers?
Yeah. It takes a tremendous toll because they're watching this person that they've been with for so long and changing, and
Sure.
that is the beginning part. But what ends up happening is through the whole caretaking role that they start to forget about themselves. So if they have a doctor's appointment, they're worried about taking their loved one to the doctor's appointment and not them, and they're not really taking care of themselves. So one thing I've noticed along the years, and I've always tried to push the caregiver to do, you have to take care of yourself because the caregiver burnout rate is so high. And if they end up not taking care of themselves and something happens, then what happens with their loved one? I know that we could be helping them at least get through it. We have to control what we can control. This disease is something that's out of our control right now.
Is America ready for this? I don't get the feeling it is. And
people are getting diagnosed younger and younger, so a lot of doctors are meeting people, and you don't suspect that they could have this disease either, and they might.
But there's something called young onset
Yep.
Alzheimer's, and
Yep.
I mean, how much more devastating and heartbreaking can this get than when you see somebody who's like 55 years old
Yep.
and they have Alzheimer's? You offer training to the caregivers, right? Is that part of
Yes.
your program?
Yep, absolutely. We have caregiver trainings at whatever different topics people are interested in. We have at the organization, so there might be topics about difficult behaviors, what to do next in the sense of someone needing to talk to an elder care attorney and find out about health care proxies, living wills, or even trainings that are on home care.
What's Social Saturdays?
Social Saturdays. Well, we had realized at one point our day program was running 5 days a week, but we knew this isn't a disease that stops it during the week, so we added Saturdays, which is important because with the population right now in the sandwich generation with adults, everyone's working. They need still time on the weekends to be able to be with their children and their family. So we added Social Saturdays, which there's sometimes making memories at the movies. We have a chorus every Saturday that involves the caregiver and their loved one. And then really our regular day program activities with some kind of presenter for an hour. So, and we offer transportation, and we have dementia trained drivers, and they pick up people at their homes in Nassau County and bring them to our center for our programs and then bring them home.
When someone's loved one is diagnosed, what's the first piece of advice, first thing that you would say to somebody?
It's a good question that you ask, because in one way you want to say, here you go and here's a list, but it's the idea of the person being so overwhelmed that if this just happened, it's almost like a step-by-step process, because they could get the information, not understand it, not read it, and then just get more confused. What I always say is that, look, this is the reality of the situation right now, that you were diagnosed, but here are the ways that we, even in our organization, can help you and take you through one day at a time, because it really is one day at a time. We always say, in a one way, no one gets a handbook when they get this disease. And not everyone that's got this disease has the same symptoms, so you just don't know. Could they be the same person tomorrow? Maybe. Could their behaviors change? Absolutely. We say with this disease, some people can kind of be on a
level.
Yeah, level, and then sometimes they could do a drop. So we just kind of have to manage it. So I feel like once we can kind of get them comfortable and really hearing what we're saying to them, then we can take them through those tips.
I guess the last one is, how can people find you?
People can find us on our website, www.lidementia.org, and they can also
lidementia.org.
Yep.
Okay.
And then call us 516-767-6856, and we will be available to help from 9 to 5.
Great. Hey, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
I'm going